Welcome to Betting on Success, a podcast that dives into the future of gaming with a focus on cashless technology. Hosted by Mark Morton, aka Morty. From cashless innovations to incredible career stories, this is where gaming professionals stay ahead. Betting on Success is brought to you by your friends at Marker Tracks and Coin, leading the way in cashless gaming.
Hi, this is Mark Morton, and welcome to Betting on Success. We're going to change directions a little bit today. I have the pleasure to have someone on today that her work really impressed me. She impressed me a great deal when she interviewed me for a piece for CDC, I think, at G2E this year. So I wanted to have her on, and I think you're going to really enjoy her. She's on the different side of the table today. Hillary McAfee, pleasure to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so we're going to have a little bit of fun today. You ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to learn about you, so I get to be the one asking all the questions.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So, born and raised where?
I was raised in Minnesota.
Okay.
So I spent 17 years there, and then when I was 17, I moved out to Colorado, and then I spent a good 13 years there, and then California, and then now here as of April.
Okay.
So yeah, a little bit of everywhere, but slowly making my way out west.
Yeah, you went for the weather. You came for the weather,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Minnesota to here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, brothers, sisters?
Yes, I have 2 older sisters and an older brother. So it's 9 years older, 7 years older, and 5 years older. And then 5 whole years, and then me.
So you're the baby.
Yes, a wonderful surprise, as my mom calls me.
Yeah.
So.
Like a Christmas
Yes.
present.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
And so, family still lives in Minnesota, or the family's now out west with you?
Oh, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So my parents went back to Florida, so they're living their best retired life out there. And then I have a sister and a brother who stayed in Minnesota, and then my other sister went to California. So we're all kind of all over the place. Yeah.
Married?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Kids? We just were talking about that. Yeah.
I have 2 kids. Yeah, a boy and a girl. So yeah.
And Christmas time right now, right? You were telling me a funny story that it's become a lot harder work than normal. I guess with this, what is it called?
So much more work.
Elves on the Shelf?
Yeah, Elf on the Shelf.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
It haunts my dreams at night. It's the worst. You should never buy into it if you're a new parent. Never buy into the Elf on the Shelf. Just the videos look so fun on Instagram, but then you have to do it for 24 days.
And then it's not that much fun.
No, it's not. My husband goes to bed early, and he's like having to stay up late to make sure the kids are asleep so we can do the Elf, and he's hating his life right now. But it's fine.
Yeah.
It's all a part of the magic that we put on ourselves. I can't believe you didn't have the Elf. You didn't have
no
the
Elf in the Shelves back then. Way back then, there was none of that. So
we didn't have one either, but I just assumed everybody else had one.
No.
But
No. So okay, so you get to Southern California. Where did you make the turn into gaming?
When I was in California.
Okay.
Yes. So
you were a photographer, is that correct?
I was a photographer for a long time in Colorado.
Yeah.
So I did wedding photography, family photography, all of that, the newborn, maternity, and then I started marketing that, and then that's really what got me into marketing, and specifically like social media marketing. And then I started just like acquiring new clients. I would just reach out to smaller businesses in the Denver area, and I was like, hey, do you want to do like a trade? Like we'll just do some kind of, trade of services. And then I started acquiring more like paid opportunities and kind of built my client list that way. And so I did that for a couple years. And then when we moved to California, I did it there as well. But I was like, I kind of want to meet some people. I'm a little over working for myself all the time.
Yeah.
Which is funny because now I'm back working for myself all the time. But like you had that break in there, I was like, I need something different. So I got a job working for a YouTuber who happened to be in gaming. And that's just kind of where it all started. So very accidental, not on purpose at all. But yeah.
And so when you got into gaming, right, so it seems like you were on your own, right?
Yeah.
Was there somebody that inspired you when you were younger that gave you direction on kind of being your own boss? Or because a lot of people get into a career, very rarely do they immediately go on their own. So I find that very interesting. Tell me if there's somebody that influenced you in that way.
I don't think specifically about just growing my own career and being my own boss. I think it was mostly I'm the youngest of four,
Right.
and everybody had a very different trajectory, but the underlying message that my parents always taught us was just to be very independent and very, like, resourceful. So we just always knew that we could figure it out and, you know, just kind of follow our passions on whatever we wanted to do. Like, every single one of us, when we graduated high school, we all moved away, like far away. So, like, people moved to Michigan.
Right.
I moved to Colorado. My sister moved to California. Yeah, so we all moved away right away because that was just kind of what you do when you're in our family. You go and explore your life, and then sometimes they come back, and then, like me, I stayed.
You never
I
came home.
kept going farther away. I
Right,
love them, but
right,
I kept going farther away.
right.
But yeah, I think it's that independence that kind of stuck with me to be like, I can figure it out.
Yeah. Did you have a vision when you were growing up? Did you see yourself being in a certain field or an industry, or you didn't need, I mean, was there any of that involved?
No, I think I'm the wild card of my family. I
Yeah.
think, I always really loved to travel, and I loved to be around people. So that was just kind of my motivation. Like, where can I do both and do it to where it makes me money, which is
Correct.
great. Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
the underlying message there. Yeah. So I think that was always just my motivation, is how do I get to just do what I enjoy and be around people. And yeah, my parents were great about teaching us just a really great work ethic too.
Yeah.
So that paired with enjoying people is super helpful. And I think that's really gotten me where I am today.
And what did your mom and dad do? What was your family business? What was...
My dad they're both military.
Okay.
And then my dad was a commercial airline pilot for
Oh, wow.
Delta for like 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's what he did. So he had pictures that I drew of him on a plane as well.
Yes.
He was traveling a lot, like you said, of your girls. So he was a pilot, and then my mom homeschooled us, so she was pretty much a teacher for
Okay.
a long, long time. And then, so she stayed home with us.
And outside of what you do, and we're going to get into that in a minute, but outside, what's your passions? What do you love? Do you love sports? Tell me what you like to do when you're not working.
When I'm not working, I don't have a whole lot of time for like my own hobbies too much, because
Yeah.
I've got two
Well,
young
I
kids.
I remember those days. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So my time is pretty booked up with them, but we really love sports as a family. So
Okay.
we enjoy watching sports, participating. My kids do club sports. My husband plays on Old Man's Hockey League. Now he does basketball, and so I
Yeah.
like to work out. Yeah, just that kind of thing. So
What favorite team?
I like the Broncos.
Oh, so
which,
it was a big day yesterday. They beat the Packers.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're very happy about that. And growing up in Minnesota, the Packers were a big rival for us.
Yeah.
So that felt extra sweet.
Yeah.
That's probably the big one. I just like watching a good game, though. So
Right.
I don't really care who's playing, as long as it's an exciting game. It could be hockey or basketball, but I don't think anybody wants to watch a game where there's like one touchdown
Right.
or one goal. That's not fun.
Kind of boring, right?
Yeah. So I'm not going to know the players' names by any means.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you, so you're married? Where'd you meet your husband?
Well, this was before internet dating. I guess I'm dating myself, but this was before the apps.
Yeah.
But we met at a bar, as
Okay.
one does. Yeah.
I met my wife at a bar at 2 a.m, so
You did?
we're
You know what?
kindred spirits. so-
Sometimes it's just meant to be.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yep. We met, what was it, 2012?
Okay.
Yeah. 2012 and no, 2013. I should know that. 2013. Yeah. And then within a year we were engaged and married and had a baby shortly after that, and then here we are.
There you go. All right, charitable organizations involved with any of that?
Yeah, I really, immigration is super important to me.
Okay.
So I worked a lot with Colorado Hosting Asylum Network back in Colorado when we were there in Denver. And we were a host family. So we would have asylum seekers come and stay with us while they were being sponsored and going through the process of like seeking asylum.
So tell me about that, because I read that was a life-changing event for you the first time you went through that.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it really was. It was 2020, and that was, I think, a pretty big influential year for many
lot of people, yeah.
Yes, good and bad. But thankfully for us, we had this moment where we were wanting to get involved somehow in some capacity, because this was when all of that was hitting the news of the immigration and the process and how it wasn't great. And so we had reached out to a program, CHAN, Colorado Hosting Asylum Network, and we said, we'll be a host family, but we're going to like finish out our basement. We want to get things ready, but we would love to have someone come and stay with us, and that's like our commitment level. So they called us like, I don't know, a month later, and they said, hey, we knew you weren't ready quite yet, but we have a woman here. She just crossed over. We don't know how far along she is, but she's very pregnant, and she needs a place to stay. So can she come and stay with you? And we were like, yeah. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So I said, yeah. And then I called my husband and I said, guess what? Surprise.
Yeah.
We're going to have possibly 2 guests very soon.
Yeah.
So I said, give me 2 days to like set everything up and try to get like a room. I don't have anything for babies anymore. Like my kids were grown at that point.
Right.
And so my community was great. They really rallied and brought in a bunch of things. And then I decided, I'm like, I'm going to reach out on TikTok and see what we can do, and just like ask for like $1 and see if I can get her like $100. I can take her to Goodwill. I'm a thrifter. Like we can get her set up with just things that she wants to get. Because again, she didn't have anything. She had nothing. So she came across just herself. So it ended up going a little bit viral. And the first like 48 hours, we raised about like 20 grand.
Wow.
Which was great.
Awesome.
And that just kind of snowballed from there. So it was really great. So she came on Halloween, and then we took her shopping, got her what she wanted. It was great. She met the kids. She loved them. She spoke only Spanish, and I spoke only English at the time. So that was great.
Yeah.
Learned that quickly. And then that night, she went into labor. So then we said, all right, we're going to go to the hospital, have a baby now. So
here we go.
Got to do that. Got to be on the other side of that process as well, which was amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of waiting involved. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, it was hours of waiting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was super special. It was like a great, wonderful experience.
It's an awesome story.
Yeah.
Awesome story. So one of the things when I was kind of researching, I'm not a stalker or anything like that, but when I was researching you a little bit, right? So I characterize you as being fearless. Do you think you are? I mean, just by reading some of the comments, Hillary, that you've made, it seems like you're never afraid of anything. Do you think you?
Oh, that's a great compliment.
Yeah. No. Do you believe that to be true?
I think it's taken a long time to get to this point.
Yeah.
But I would say I have to talk myself out of a lot of things. I have a lot of anxiety, but I do think that at the end of the day, I'm like, it's just not that serious. Like it's just not that serious.
Right.
We're on a floating rock. Like it's really not world ending. But yeah, I think I aspire to be fearless, but that's a great compliment that you see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got in, all right, photographer. Now you get into gaming, and your first job was with Brian Christopher?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about, because he's, super influential in our industry, and I want to talk to you a minute about that too. But tell me how you got involved with that.
Yeah. Well, I just applied on Indeed, as one does.
Yeah.
And I had no idea anything about gaming. At that point, I had never gambled a day in my life, or I don't even think I'd stepped foot in a casino. And that was a question of, hey, do you think you can market something you're not really familiar with? And I said, well, I can pretty much learn anything, so I'm not really too worried about that. I'll figure it out. And it was like a massive crash course in gaming to be totally submerged in that world, mostly slots at the time.
Yep.
And then branching out into, we launched a couple other channels while I was there for like real money gaming. There was one for sweeps at the time. And he was just starting his ambassadorship with BetMGM, which was really cool. So it was great to be a part of a bunch of different touch points across multiple different brands and different verticals. So it was really great. I could go to G2E and be like, oh, I recognize a bunch of these brands. This is great. They don't know me, and that's okay. But I know them. Yeah. So it was really cool.
And you said something else I read, again, that You love the industry because you love the people.
Yes. And you said this too.
I did.
Yes.
No, 100%. 100%. When I
Yes.
was out of the business, I had FOMO because I missed the people more than anything.
Yes.
But I'd love your thoughts on that.
I just think everyone's been very, there's just so many interesting characters,
Right.
first of all.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. Like, it's never boring. There's so many interesting characters, but there's also just very genuine people that I've come across, especially going off on my own again last August, where I was like, I don't really know if I'm like how I'm going to make this work, but I'm going to make it work. And I feel like I had so many people like rooting for me and rallying behind me through like Global Gaming Women. I'm very involved with them.
Yep.
And just other connections I've made. They were just super, everyone was just really willing to like help out or give me a shot when I had like no experience doing whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was, I would say that was pretty instrumental in my career, was just the connections.
Yeah. And so Global Gaming Women, right?
Yeah.
Like when I started in the business, I mean, a long, long time ago, it was a very male-dominated industry. That has changed. You guys are, I mean, smarter. I mean, I don't want to admit this on camera, but I tell my wife that all the time because that's smart by me. But I mean, it's a completely different industry. I mean, I think it's phenomenal because both my daughters are in the business and they love it. I mean, how did you get involved with that too? Just through exposure to Global Gaming Women?
I think I found them on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then they had a call for like a day in the life series.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can do that. So I applied to do that, and I made these random videos about my day. And that was great. And then I connected with the person, Tashina, from Konami.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
And I basically like politely pounded down her door until she gave me an opportunity to volunteer on a committee. I was just like, if you have any volunteer opportunities, let me know. Anything still, I will literally do anything. I just want to be more involved. And so she eventually, I think, just found a spot. Yeah, she caved. Yeah. Yes. I just wore her down gently. But yeah, so I started doing the committees. I did the lean-in circles. I was just like, I just want to be involved as much as I can, because that was my big goal for that year, was just to network more and get more connected with people. And so I was like, I got to just, every opportunity, I got to put myself out there for it.
So when you were with Brian Christopher, you said something here that one of the things you learned is what the industry wants to say and what the player actually wants. You said that you learned a lot during your time with him. What did you mean by that? So
I think sometimes, brands, obviously, they'll send you talking points of like, hey, we want to talk about this game or this machine, and here are some of the key points. But you kind of have to translate that into how people will actually accept that information. So instead of being like, look at all of these great features, you kind of have to have it in a more conversational tone. You'd basically just have to break everything down more casually to where like we're talking about it.
Right.
I'm not going to just be like, look at this, Morty, this is so great, and let me list these 3 things. Yeah. I'm going to be like, oh, I played this game the other day and they had this one feature and I hit big, and then this other time I didn't at all and I lost everything.
Yeah.
So it's just more making it more palatable, I guess, and more just like personable is really where I think that translation really hits with a lot of players.
Yeah. And how do you think that technology, entertainment, all kind of converges now? Because it's what, like I mentioned Brian Christopher. I mean, we didn't have influencers, right? I mean, that's not what when I was in the business and learning it, we didn't have any of that sort of, I guess, additional credence to whatever games we were trying to get somebody to take, right?
Right.
Today it's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that?
On just technology?
Yeah, and influencers and
plays a big part.
I know, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty. I think at this point you just have to have multiple touch points. So it's not all digital. In fact, I feel like we're shifting more to more in-person touch points as well, like more events and connecting people that way, because I think we're all kind of like fatigued from all of the ad overload that we get every day when we open up our phones. But I think it's finding that balance and meeting people where they're at. So if people are, mostly online, we had, a lot of people who couldn't get to casinos based on like their mobility or just like distance issues or transportation. And so they're like, oh, we get to live this vicariously through the people that we watch through these influencers, which I guess I didn't even really think about before. But there's definitely so many spaces where you don't have that access. But now there's iGaming, and now there's, sports betting and other ways that you can connect with those players that can't get into the spaces physically.
Yeah.
So I think it's great, but I think there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of,
So when you think of the traditional casinos, that the properties that we all grew up on, and then you think about iGaming or sports betting, I mean, there's always been this fear, right, that the iGaming side is just going to overtake.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? How do you feel? Do you think they coexist? Do you think there's any credence to that fear that is potentially?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they coexist. I think there's something for everybody. But I also think that a lot of people want more like community experiential like products, really, and experiences, as opposed to only just online, which can feel very isolating. So I think if you merge the two, I know they're doing that, I think it's Choctaw, they're geofencing around the properties for their iGaming, which is so smart. And they're actually going to do it around like the whole reservations themselves too, which is, I think it's genius. But that connects both, the iGaming and the land-based. But I think people ultimately, they want to like the connection factor. I don't think you're going to get the younger generation in just to play slots. I don't think they're really interested in that, and I think the data would probably back that up. But but you would probably get them in for an event that was centered around slots in some capacity, like the group pulls or whatnot. So I think it's combining the two at this point. That is really going to be the challenge.
Okay, so a year ago, you get pivot a little bit, and you get to max bet. So tell me how that's. So I've watched that show for a long time. I think it's much better now. Sorry, Mike.
That's
Landon.
So nice.
I think it's much better now. But tell me how you got involved with Mike and that. I love the show, by the way. So.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Again, it was totally by accident, so not on purpose at all. Mike and I were on a panel for G2E last year, and he was like a last-minute addition. I don't really know why he was on that panel, to be honest, but we love that he was there. And we were putting out these like outrageous. We did this like horrible Photoshop to these like movie posters to advertise our panel. So like we did Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like little baby Groot, and he was Star-Lord, and then we had Heather and Dan, and it was really fun. So we had a lot of fun with that panel. And he was like, anyone who wants to come on the podcast, you should come on while you're here. So I ended up going on one of the episodes at the end of G2E after our panel. And we were like, actually, that was like really fun. So, and he's like, well, I'm kind of looking for a co-host. I don't think I can get another guy because it was kind of a boys club for a little bit. People said it was a boys club. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, you did only have like 3 female guests on in the whole 5 years.
Not that we're counting, but
Not that we're counting, but I did count.
And
I was like, okay, well, if you're interested in expanding more on that front, I think, we could probably work something out. And it was super fun. We had a really good time. I think the ultimate goal was we always kind of knew he was going to go back into some kind of, he's too good at what he does.
Right.
He's not, so
he is very good.
The whole point was kind of a transitional, like, let's, do this together, see if it works. And then eventually he would ride off into the sunset, which he did with Blueberry, which nobody's surprised by. But so it was fun. It's been so fun to do, and I'm really grateful for what they had set up and like the legacy that they established. So I just feel like I hope I can like do it justice. But
you've done a great job.
Super
so
fun.
What I love about doing this is what I've learned. It's so funny. I've had multiple times where I thought a certain way until I talked to these leaders in our industry and went, God, it's completely opposite to what I thought it was, like how you got from here to there. Tell me some of the things you've learned since you've done that podcast? Is there anything
We
that
don't
stood
have
out?
time.
I know
Yeah.
I know that, but one or two things.
Yes. Well, I was really excited to do the podcast because I didn't feel like I knew enough about the industry. So I started, I was like, I'm just going to ask whatever question, no matter how dumb it sounds, because there's someone else like me out there listening, like, I hope they ask this question. So I've learned a lot. But ones that stood out to me, probably Diana Bennett. She came on, she's just incredible.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, she's incredible. She came just like with stories firing on all cylinders of like her dad's time in the mob, and just like assassination attempts and things where you're like, I did not put that on my bingo card for today or for this meeting, in fact. But so just all the work that she's done too in the Vegas area is just incredible. So she wanted to talk a lot about like her philanthropy work, which is just awesome what she does. So I learned a lot about the mob.
Right.
And about philanthropy all in one.
All in one, yeah.
Yeah. So probably that one. But we've had so many great experts on to explain like iGaming and, just different. We had Marcus Yoder on recently. He had a lot of really great things to say about like mergers and acquisitions, because I was like, I don't understand. And there's so much happening right now, and I don't get it, what's happening. So he was very patient and broke down a lot of things. So if you want to learn more about mergers and acquisitions, you should listen to that one.
Marcus is the guy, right?
Yeah. But what's been some things that you've learned?
Well, it's funny because I always thought with my career I'd have a straight line to what I wanted to do, right?
Right.
And I've had Steve Zanella, Patrick Miller, others. I had Peter Arceo on the other, and they all said that it's not that, right? That like a lot of times you have to go sideways to go forward, right? So that was something that always hit me, because I always thought in my whole life that you have a plan, and this is how you get to where you want to go. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you get short-sighted in the fact that it's not a straight line, right?
Yeah.
You think you move sideways, you're going backwards, but a lot of times you're not. So things like that to me really resonated, because especially with my girls being nuts, you're interviewing me, I like that. When my girls are I think I want to help them in the right direction, but your thoughts are not always, you're so tunnel vision with you.
Right.
It helps, I think, to learn and listen to others. So that's what I love that. I love talking to you today, right? Because when I read about you, I love the fact that you just kind of said, I'll figure it out. I love that mentality, right? It's not that serious. We can figure it out, and it's going to be okay. So I love that. I mean, if you had to give advice to somebody young coming up into the industry, any advice you would give, or anything that you would tell somebody that's getting started?
I'll answer, and then I would like to hear your answer.
Yeah.
I think I would say that at some point I just realized that nobody's coming to like rescue you or like hand you a golden opportunity. So you need to really make your own opportunities. And I feel like if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So you might as well just ask anyway. And what's the worst that could happen? Like, they don't like you. Oh, well, that's not a big deal. Okay. Yeah. Moving on.
Sun will come up the next day.
Exactly.
And you're right.
Yes. So that's, and just not really caring what other people think is, I think, really huge. Like I think it was on a different podcast. You listen to Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
He said like a couple years ago, and it just stuck with me, that at the end of the day, like the faces, like the opinions that should matter to you are the faces that you want to look at on your deathbed. And I was like,
wow.
Oh. That got really deep. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We don't need to go that deep. But it changed so much, where I was like, oh, that's so true. You really just don't need to care what most of people think about you.
Yeah.
And you're probably not going to know them in 10 years anyway, so you might as well just like shoot your shot, ask for what you want. If they say no, that's fine. Just go find something else. But
that's fantastic. Well, Hill, I really want to thank you for being here today. Yeah. You are awesome.
Yes.
I appreciate all your time, and thank you guys for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, and listen. Is that right? Close enough? Anyway.
Follow.
Follow. Yeah. What is the answer? I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us today. Appreciate your time.
That's a wrap for this episode of Betting on Success. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for more insights from gaming industry leaders. We'll see you next time.